Am I centered? I know I often get off-centered here.
Yeah, you
But
look like you could go, yep, right there.
another episode of Centering the Camera with Ian and Matt.
That's our best show yet. Yeah.
We've got it down now. Hello and welcome to the Laundromat Ownership Podcast. I'm your host, Ian Gollahon. Me and my business partner, Brian Henderson, own 3 laundromats in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area called Liberty Laundry. Those laundromats did $2.5 million in 2025, but we are also the owners and founders of Wash Dry Full POS, the original point of sale system for laundromats. And coming up on 1,300 systems sold, we're in all 50 states. But today I've got on the show a very special guest, Matt DeWolf from the CLA / Planet Laundry / Full Cycle. Welcome to the show, Matt. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, Ian, it's a real pleasure to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, tell me about yourself. How long have you been in laundry and how'd you get into the CLA and what was the journey on how you got from where you were to where you are?
Yeah, Ian, it's been weird, right? Like a lot of folks, I kind of tripped, stumbled, and fell into the laundry industry. I just passed the 1 year mark in the industry. I started in March of 2025, and it's been a really fun ride so far. I came on really to kind of help maintain the Planet Laundry. The previous editor was looking at retirement, and so they brought me in. I came from a car washing background. I spent, about 15 years in the car wash space, kind of building a media brand there and helping them do everything from live streams to live events to podcasts and magazines, really anything media focused. And so I got connected to CLA and they're like, hey, we kind of want somebody to come in and help us evolve our thinking around this and move us toward the future. And so I've been at it ever since. That was in March of 2025. And they keep asking me back. I keep coming back.
Well, that's great. I mean, for only being around a little over a year, and happy anniversary on that.
Yeah, thanks.
You've really done well to be, what's your official title with Full Cycle?
I guess you would call me the editor. I'm the
Okay,
editor
that's what I was going to call you, the editor in chief. But
Yeah.
if you want to go just by editor,
I mean, you can give me whatever. Yeah, you can call me editor in chief. I'll take that too. Yeah.
Well, that's really good, and that kind of makes sense. You had kind of had some experience in the car washing space with that kind of, every space has a trade magazine, right? And actually or trade organization rather. And actually a lot of laundromat owners are also car wash owners and vice versa. So that actually makes sense. There's quite a bit of crossover there. So for those at home that maybe are laundromat owners, but they have no idea what the it's no longer the Coin Laundry Association, excuse me,
Right.
but the
Yeah,
CLA.
Yeah.
Tell us about the CLA and why would one even become a member or even subscribe to the magazine?
Well, the official party line, Ian, is that CLA exists to provide the support, training, advocacy, marketing insights, and networking that our members have relied on to maximize their profitability for over 60 years, while seeking opportunities to evolve our offerings and meet the needs of modern laundry professionals. Now, that's a lot of mission speak. CLA really, it's all about trying to help people create better laundry businesses, whether that's on the manufacturing side, the supplier side, or if it's on that owner operator side. So really, CLA it's in the name, right? There was a reason the name changed, and I love a good acronym. For CLA, it's Connect, Learn, Advocate. So that really means helping bring people together in this industry so they get those relationships that they really need to succeed. It's helping them access the tools and the learning and the education and the resources that they need to become a better laundry entrepreneur. And it's advocating, for the industry as a whole at a larger scale to help protect really the interests of those in this industry around everything from, microfiber towel issues and all of the things that come up that, some owner operators may never realize is going on, but that the CLA is watching very closely and taking care of. So,
and those issues do come up. I remember, when COVID came around, the CLA was out there advocating for laundromats to stay open, and for them to be what was the verbiage back then? A necessary, uh,
Necessary, yeah. Essential service, an essential business,
essential.
right? Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go. Yeah, essential business. And so, and I mean, that's one of many, many battles that they fought, and most of which they've won. They do seem to win most of the battles they fight on behalf of laundromat owners. So I do think that's important. And if they don't do it, who's going to do it, right? It's not like one
Right.
laundromat owner is going to go out there and fight all these battles on behalf of all laundromat owners. So it does make sense to have an association that advocates on behalf of that industry. And I think a lot of the manufacturers or vendors like ourselves do recognize that and do work with the CLA for that reason. And also because we want to be part of that community. And one of the reasons you're on today is specifically about the new publication, which is now going to be called Full Cycle.
Full
Um,
cycle.
yeah, I'm excited about it. Can you tell us a little bit about why from Planet Laundry to Full Cycle? I know it was something before Planet Laundry too. So what kind of inspired the name change and the it's not going to be released monthly anymore, right?
Correct. Yeah, there's lots of changes. Ian, and it's one of those things where we really wanted to make a big move with the publication, because we wanted it to really be a reflection of the evolution of what's going on in the laundry industry today and kind of what it looks like and feels like to be a modern day laundry entrepreneur. There's nothing inherently wrong with Planet Laundry. It's a great publication. It did a great job reporting on the industry. It did a great job sharing insights and information that people could really use. But we wanted to really go deeper and do something a little bit different. And we didn't feel like, in good faith, if we were going to look at, retooling this thing, we couldn't just slap a coat of paint on it and call it good.
Mhm.
So our whole thing was, how can we make this a really valuable resource and make sure that it's something that people who are in this industry can see themselves in, make sure that people in this industry can feel really proud of when they receive it, and that they can look at that and read that when it comes out and take at least one thing every single time, at least one thing that's going to change their business for the better. So that was kind of the underlying focus, but it was a lift, man. I mean, this is not, as with brands, you don't just change it overnight. This thing's been going on for a while, and there had been work that predated my starting with CLA, around reworking that publication and what that was going to look like and how to do it. But it really wasn't until, probably the beginning of the summer, last summer, 2025, that snowball started rolling downhill, and we just sort of peeled off the Band-Aid, if you will, and kind of dove in head first.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the previous Planet Laundry, I have to agree with you that it was a very respectable publication, but at the same time, having gotten 20 something issues of it, I did feel like I kind of knew what to expect, on the
Yeah.
next one that came in. And so I'm pretty excited to kind of see. It's a quarterly format now, right? It's going to come out once a quarter. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're switching it up. So we wanted to go quarterly because, one of the struggles with a monthly publication is that, really you're always chasing a deadline, and you're always kind of behind it a little bit, trying to just make sure you're getting stuff out. And so it's really easy to, grab what comes, if you will, and just kind of get just enough to get the issue out, because you're always trying to get the issue out,
Yeah.
instead of being able to take a step back on a quarterly publication and say, okay, let's really look at the issues that we're dealing with. What are the really unique ways that we can kind of tackle those, and who are the right people to help us get that perspective? And how can we bring in perspective that's not just from people who are inside the laundry industry? That stuff's super valuable, but if we always operate in the silo, we never get any new ideas, right? So
Mhm.
a lot of this gives us space to go and say, all right, well, if we're going to do an issue on labor and what's kind of going on with labor and how people are tackling that, yeah, it's great to have some examples of people in this industry, but what are other sort of tangential industries, or maybe even, um, industries you would think of as innovative in those spaces? What are they doing?
Mhm.
And then how might we actually be able to apply some of those concepts into what's going on in our industry? And I think that's how you get the really great ideas and the real great inspiration, and get to the publication and the kind of storytelling that makes people feel really good.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way, but when you mentioned like storytelling and kind of broadening the aperture, it does make sense that a quarterly publication would work better for that because you actually have more time to prepare, more time to
Yeah.
research, more time to get quality content and to kind of weed through everything and then present something that's maybe a little bit more refined and interesting. And as we kind of go into this, I don't know if we're like in a post Google world now where you can just AI, like, how do I get this
Yeah.
stain out of this
Yeah.
thing? And it's less about like, hey, here's some little tips and tricks, and more about like, hey, here's a case study on a strategy that we're seeing, at this scale, and here's maybe what you could learn for that. And that's information that you wouldn't really get from, you know, an AI bot necessarily. So
Right.
I think that in a way it does kind of make sense to kind of keep up with the times as far as what information is valuable. Well, if it's more specialized or more robust long form information, then it would
Hmm.
make sense to do a quarterly publication so that you actually get a chance to gather and refine that information. So that makes a lot of sense. You mentioned interest in other industries, kind of like adjacent industries. Tell me a little bit more
Um,
about that piece of it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if you look at major publications, things like Harvard Business Review, for a good example, um, they're not if they're going to tackle AI. They're not just looking at AI in one specific space. They're kind of looking at it from a holistic lens, and they're saying, okay, well, what are all the things that are kind of feeding into this, and what are we seeing in this space, and what are we seeing in this space, and what are we seeing over here, and then how might that apply in these use cases? That's kind of the goal of what we want to do with Full Cycle is say, all right, let's tell the actual story. Like
Mhm.
instead of reporting on what is going on in the industry, let's tell the story of that concept and help you go a little deeper and expand your thinking a little bit. So, okay, so let's use AI as an example. Well, it's great. We can tell some of these things around what laundry people might be doing with AI in their specific spaces, but it's also about looking outward and saying, well, what's going on at a macro level in that particular space? And what might we need to watch out for? What might be coming our
Mhm.
way? What might we need to be thinking about as it comes so that we know we don't get ourselves stuck in this space of being reactive and can really kind of be, proactive in terms of how are we thinking about our business? How are we thinking about growth and scale and operations and all of these really important pieces? If you are only talking about laundry and only thinking about laundry, you'll do fine in laundry, for a time. But eventually that innovation is going to come in and you're going to get disrupted and you weren't ready for it. So
Yeah.
we're really trying to like storytell and bring that outside perspective and bring some of those things that you need to be looking out for your business into the now and so that you're ready for it.
What you're talking about there is kind of broadly what we've seen in the last 10 years in laundromats, or at least what I've seen in the last 10 years of laundromats. I can't speak for everyone else, but I do know when I started, it was a lot more just like coin op
Hmm.
and more one store operators. And now we see kind of these mega laundromats that
Right.
have a lot more money put into them. There's much more technology. I mean, we were one of the really early technology companies in the space, but now we're one of many technology companies. When does the first publication of Full Cycle, when does the first issue come out?
Well, you're catching me at a nice moment because I just put the first one to bed. So it'll be hitting mailboxes here. We're still in March as of today, and so it should hit mailboxes before the end of this month, which is super exciting because this has been this has been quite the project to get off the ground. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it to hit mailboxes because I think there's a couple of things that people are going to notice right away in terms of how it's different. It's gonna feel different. Like literally, it will feel different than the previous magazine. It's heavier paper. It's going to be perfect bound versus stapled. It's just going to have a richer feel to it, a little bit more heft, so it feels a little bit more robust.
Mhm.
And it's going to look really different. It's gonna look really different. It's going to look much more like a magazine you might pick up off the magazine rack, as opposed to a trade publication. And so we're pretty proud of that. That's a big piece of it, and it goes along with this idea of what you were just saying, Ian, around how this industry is focusing more on customer experience and brand and some of those things. And this publication, if it's going to be of the industry and for the industry, it's got to reflect those things.
Yeah. No, I hadn't thought of it, but it's almost like the previous version was the coin op. I mean, it wasn't the coin op version, but it was the more generic version, like you said, like, oh, this is a trade magazine, and you want
Yeah.
to go into like the more premium version, which is the same trend we've seen in laundromats. So it would make sense that you would kind of follow that trend. I want to hear about maybe the hardest thing that you've kind of gone through with this whole rebrand, and also what you're most excited about.
Oh man. Well, it's, probably the toughest thing of the whole deal was trying to maintain doing what Planet Laundry was, right? We wanted to make sure we were sticking true to that publication, and we're able to continue to provide that for folks in the way that they've come to expect, and how they've trusted and loved that over the years, while also trying to create something brand new and completely different. So doing the two publications at the same time and doing that work was really, really challenging. But I think, change is always hard, but making this move from Planet Laundry, which was really trusted and really loved by a lot of folks, to Full Cycle is a big change. We're going to be working really hard this year to kind of get that out there and get people talking about the name and like the whole essence of it. And it's funny because I've only been at it, really for a year, and I'm still having a hard time not calling things Planet Laundry. Like it's I wasn't even in it that long, but it's enough that you're like, man, this thing has a really good reputation. It's a strong and trusted brand. And we're trying to take Full Cycle and build on that while giving all the signals that this is something new, but it's based in the foundation of what made Planet Laundry so great for people, which is that there's a lot of experience behind it. There's a really great team working on it. And it's really meant to serve this industry and the people in it and make them feel proud of what they're doing. The other thing that was actually pretty tough, Ian, is that as somebody who, as of a year ago is brand new to this industry, I've spent a lot of time just trying to like meet people and establish some relationships and figure out what's what and who's who and find those great stories. And we're fortunate that, at CLA, we've got a long tenured team there that has been able to really help me hit the ground running and help with a lot of that. And now that first issue is officially out and officially on time, by the way, we're hitting our stride pretty nicely. But the second part was, what am I looking forward to, right? I am really excited for people to see it. I want them to feel it. I want them to have that experience of having it in their hands and opening this book and getting that one takeaway that makes all the difference in the world to their business. I'm really passionate about helping people through storytelling. I think, it goes back to our human being roots. Like, stories are really impactful and really powerful. And I think that being able to give people in this industry a publication that can honor where we've come from while taking us into the future is a huge privilege for me, and it's a responsibility that I'm not going to take lightly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can tell you've worked really hard on it, and from someone from the, maybe I wouldn't say outside, I guess from the inside, but I've been getting Planet Laundry for maybe 10 years now, and I haven't been really excited about an issue in a while, but I'm really excited about this Full Cycle issue. I'm really excited to see like what's the new look and feel, what is the new perspective going to be like. So I think if nothing else, I mean, you've kind of breathed new life into going to the mailbox and getting the latest issue. I mean, there's always that special feeling of like, oh, this is so fun. I can go sit down with it and look at it. And I know most people have like TikTok brains now where they like can't focus on anything that's not like a 30-second, clip that's made to tantalize them. But I do think that there is something to be said for actual content, and especially when you're looking at business, those 30-second clips don't really, all they're doing is giving you that ping of dopamine or whatever it is. You're not actually learning or improving your business with a 30-second clip, typically. I know you don't want to play favorites, but I'm curious if there's anything that like maybe like a story that really stayed with you or something like that?
Yeah, gosh, it was really fun to go out. We got to go visit Nick Raisler at his store. He's local to me. He's in the St. Paul area, and we got to photograph him and his store for this first issue's cover. And it was just a really fun experience to be able to do that and to be able to shine some light on somebody who's doing something so interesting and so unique in this market and in the laundry industry in general. I think that's a really fun story. Nick, I think this is true, is the only laundromat owner operator in the United States who is officially licensed to sell Starbucks coffee. So that's a thing. So that was really cool.
Is it like in the laundromat?
It's
the
in the
Starbucks?
laundromat. Now that's a little misleading to tee it up that way, but that, we're storytellers. That's what we do, Ian. We inflate a little bit. He's got a little kiosk area that's kind of back against the wall as you walk in, and you can go and you can buy Starbucks coffee from the whole machine, and it's distributing Starbucks coffee like it would at you think of it kind of like it almost looks like what you see at like a Delta Sky Club space when you walk in and there's the coffee dispensers. It's a coffee dispenser's got the big Starbucks logo on it. It's got all the stuff around it. It's very nice. It's very well done and appointed. And people love it. People come in, they do their laundry, they sip on their Starbucks, and off they go.
Yeah, we give free coffee at our laundromats, but it also, it's free coffee. You know what I mean? So it's maybe not Starbucks quality there.
It's probably been in the pot for a while, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we keep it fresh, but it's definitely not. I definitely wouldn't charge someone $3 for a cup of it. That's for sure. But when I worked at O'Hare, man, the Starbucks, once you get hooked on that stuff, it's like you got to have your cup, So
it's a
yes,
fix,
exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good one. But there's one of the things with the way we're approaching full cycle and what's made possible because we have more pages, frankly, in these quarterly issues, is we can tell more of those people's stories too, right? So we can get multiple store profiles in every issue. We can do multiple member spotlights and just interesting stuff so that you can really see what people are doing, how they're running their business, what's really going on, and get some of these interesting ideas. And to couple that with really strong photography and to be really visual about how we're also telling these stories, I think is another kind of key component into what makes us a little bit different from what you might expect to see in a kind of a standard publication.
And that was something that, I mean, now that you're mentioning it, and I wouldn't have even thought about this, but yeah, it's not like you got Planet Laundry for the art of of going through it, right? It was very standard format. You've got the boxes and it's all white and all that. So that'll be cool to kind of see something that's a little bit more aesthetically, interesting and pleasing.
There will be a lot of color. I will tell you that. There will be a lot of color in it. It's going to
good.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm tired of the white backgrounds for every page.
Ian, I should say the other thing that's maybe a little undersold here is that we talk about Full Cycle as a magazine, and it was Planet Laundry magazine, and it was the journal before that, and all of those things. One of the things we're really focused on doing is taking this beyond a magazine and really pushing on it as a media brand. So that looks like a revamped podcast, which I was fortunate enough to have you on the show here recently. So Full Cycle as a podcast is a whole different beast from what Planet Laundry was doing as a podcast program. So really kind of taking a holistic media approach to this Full Cycle brand. Again, at the heart of this thing is the experience of the listeners, right? And the viewers and the readers. Those are the people that we're here for, and that's who we're trying to serve, and that's who we're trying to tell stories for.
I've seen some of the stories that you guys have released. I don't know if stories is the right word, but they're like interviews or case studies on laundromats on the YouTube channel. And the quality of these is so high. They're doing these in-person interviews, and these are not cheap productions. And so is that kind of the strategy to continue to kind of do these in-person kind of deep studies, or is that kind of the beginning of what we're seeing with the fuller multimedia brand, or how does that kind of fit into everything?
Yeah, the CLA spotlight pieces are a really big piece of this kind of broader media strategy in terms of how can we make sure that we're staying relevant, right? And that we're continuing to evolve in the way that today's laundry entrepreneur needs. And that's a big way to do it, right? Like get out there and show and tell and get those stories of these really great operators and the really cool things that they're doing in their stores, so that people who, not only people who are trying to get into this industry, because let's face it, there are lots of those, but also the people who have been in the industry for a little bit that are maybe just looking for something fresh and like want to grow, or they want to reinvest, or they want to try something different. These types of video kind of case studies and those pieces, and again, man, the stories that come from that are the things that will resonate and will help you kind of hear that point in a way that you wouldn't have heard it before. So if somebody's like, well, I double the amount of folding tables I use in my specific locations for these 3 reasons. Well, you can write that down on a piece of paper and give it to you, and it might go right past you 9 times out of 10. But there's something about hearing somebody else who you can see in yourself, right? There's representation there. There's something about hearing it from them. You're like, yep, that makes sense. I'm going to do it. So,
yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I can vouch for the quality of some of the operators that you guys are interviewing too. I saw one of my friends, Omar Khan, you guys were doing his laundromat, and I had never seen inside of it. I've known him for, I don't know, maybe 8 years or something like that. And he's bought several systems with us. And I knew he had nice laundromats, but then when I saw the video, I was like, oh, wow, like this is really cool. And you get to see the whole vibe and, the aesthetic of everything. And Omar got to tell some of his story that I didn't know either. And so, it was really cool to be like, hey, I know this guy who's doing well in the laundry industry, but then it's like, yeah, maybe you see him at the trade shows or whatever, but you never really get to sit down and see his laundromats and hear his story. And so I think there is some real value to that. So I'm excited for you guys to kind of continue to push that multimedia piece of it forward. And that does make sense with today's day and age, right? You do have the publication experience, but you also have to be on all the platforms, and
you have to,
just like we're doing now. People want to listen to the podcast while they load the dishwasher or whatever. So let's say I am one of these laundromats, and either I want to join the CLA or I want to reach out to you, Matt, about a story I have. How do our listeners get in touch with you, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, easiest way is to send me an email. It's just matt@laundryassociation.org. Otherwise, you can go to fullcyclemagazine.com and get access to everything you're going to need, to whether that's subscribing, whether it's just kind of checking out the content that's there already. And that's, that site has been completely retooled as well, is all part of the thing. So you're going to hit that site and go, oh, this is for laundry?
Well, excellent. I'm excited. I'm really excited to get the first edition, and I'm excited to be working with you guys as well in the future and collaborating more. And I really appreciate you having us on the podcast, and super happy that you're on the podcast today. But I can't let you go without asking you the question that I ask everyone, which is, what is the craziest thing you have seen in a laundromat? I know you've only got a year of experience, but you've been around, you've heard some stories. What's the thing that just made you drop your jaw?
Man, it's not it's maybe not a traditional crazy, but I think, and you alluded to it when we started this conversation, it has been unreal to me how much that I've talked about car washing with people in the laundry industry. Like I did not see that coming. I went to the Clean Show, was one of my first events I got to go to. And everybody I talked to, it's like, oh, hey, I'm Matt. I spent a lot of years in car washing. They're like, oh, I've got a car wash. I'm like, oh, okay, great. And so I've spent almost more time talking about car washing with people in laundry than I did talking about it with car washers. So it's been funny there. But I think there's such an interesting amount of crossover in those two industries. And it's been really fascinating for me, having spent such a long time in the car wash space, to see how the laundry industry is evolving very similarly to what happened in that industry, in terms of customer experience and focusing on brand, and just really evolving the line of services offered. In laundry, we've got pickup and delivery, commercial, wash, dry, fold. And it's just changing what it means to be in this industry, and changing really some commonly held, consumer beliefs, right? Like, what it means to be a laundromat today is different from 10 years ago.
If I was thinking about car washes 10 years ago, they were kind of run down. Maybe you got out and you sprayed your car down or whatever. And if you went through one, it looked kind of like a gas station, or it was part of a gas station, that type of a deal. Yeah. And now in Tulsa, at least, you can't drive a mile or two without seeing like a big, beautiful, and it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
huge area. And usually they have lines at them too. And I also wonder if we can't look to that industry to say like, okay, obviously we all want nicer car washes and we want nicer laundromats, and that's good. These things are very good. uh, is there going to be a point where there's too much investment and too much
Hmm.
capital thrown at these laundromats and at these car washes? I kind of feel like maybe we're kind of seeing like, okay, is the demand going to fulfill what we've supplied? And maybe it will. I don't think I know enough about demographics, and you'd have to project out 20 years and all that. But have you seen or heard any of that for either the laundry or the car wash space, where people are building supply where maybe demand isn't there yet? Maybe they're saying, I'm going to build this car wash, I'm going to build this laundromat, and in the next few years, I'm hoping that people will show up and use it because it's really nice and I spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah, the build the nice thing and hope people will come era, at least in car washing, is over, right? I mean,
Okay.
I think it comes back to, I think this is similar to laundry too. Like at the end of the day, the thing that wins is location.
Mhm.
No matter what, it's like having an A+ location is gonna help you out in so many ways. I've seen some really nice car washes that are on B and C locations, and unfortunately, they just ended up wasting a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you did see some crazy stuff in car washing as it went along this consolidation curve, as they saw private equity money come in and build up and buy out and do all of these things, right? That I've been hearing lots of people getting concerned about in the laundry space. And at the end of the day, that was a really fun ride. And
Mhm.
there were a lot of people that did really well for themselves in that period. And now that's all settling down, and everything's shaken out. You've got a couple big players who filed for bankruptcy in that industry, which was really
Yeah.
interesting to see. So all of these assets are now just distressed assets. um, you saw one of the groups who had gone public or is now pulling back and going back private. So all of these things that were a really crazy ride as that consolidation curve went up, it sort of fell off now.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's sort of how that works. It's statistics, right? Like there's a
Right.
curve and you get to the top of it and then it recedes. But I think the lesson there, there's a couple of them. I think the big one is, if you are really focused on what you're doing and you're doing it really well, and you're continuing to reinvest in your business and to really put the customer at the center of your business, you're going to do great. People are going to come to you over and over and over again, and it's not going to matter who buys what or what brand comes in. They will stay loyal to you if you are continuing to make them feel really good about what they're doing and about being part of your business. And that's exactly what happened in car washing. And now you're just seeing, you're still seeing growth. There's still growth, even as you said, Ian. You can see lots of these popping up everywhere.
Mhm.
There's still growth. They're still
Yeah.
coming in. There's still interest to the industry. But what you're seeing and what you're going to see in the laundry side too, I think, I'm playing the role of futurist a little bit here. I think you're going to see that as long as you stay true to being a really good operator of your business and you put that customer at the center of the whole thing, you're going to be just fine no matter what happens.
Yeah, I think that's good. One of the things I'm reminded of as we're talking about this, at the last Clean Show, I was talking to Mike of WaveMax, and he was
Mm.
telling me this story about the this laundromat owner. And look, we've done something pretty similar at our laundromats, and it also did not work. But this laundromat owner, for like opening day, you know how they have like the kids corners and like the
Yep.
educational spot. He had like this table just like full of iPads, right? They're like iPads and these little mounts, and like come into the laundromat, your kid goes to an iPad and he can do all that. And Mike had seen this big fancy laundromat on opening day with all the iPads, and the excitement was like, man, look at this, what we've built here. And he came back a year later, and instead of iPads, they had on the wall, like, have you seen this guy that stole all of our iPads? And to me, I thought it was a little bit poetic in that I think, yeah, with laundromats, uh, yeah, it is a supply and a demand curve, right? And you do
Yeah.
have, people have this basic necessity that they need, they need clean clothes, and whether that's delivery or wash, dry, folds or self serve, that is essentially the service that you're offering. And you can dress it up as fancy as you want to dress it up, but if you build it in a place without enough demand, it's not going to do well.
Right.
Um, and if you don't dress it up and you put it in a place with a lot of demand, it probably still will do pretty well. And so I do think it's very good to see that the laundromats are getting better and that we're getting
Yeah.
more high quality laundromats. I think that's a very positive thing. And then I think the flip side or the correction of that, once that the supply outpaces the demand, is you will kind of see these laundromats that felt like all I have to do is invest a ton of money and put iPads everywhere, and they're going to come to my laundromat instead of someone else's. And it's like, well, no, actually, they're just going to steal your iPads, and then,
Yeah.
and then you're
They're
going
going to take your iPad and they're going to go to the one that's closer to their house.
they're going to be using them at the laundry.
Yeah,
They can't show. You got their picture on the wall. They can't show up anymore.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's a really good take, and I hadn't really thought about it from that perspective of other industries, but but that's why I wanted to have this conversation. It makes me that much more excited to kind of hear the new perspective of full cycle and kind of see, hey, here's some lessons that maybe we've seen in other places. What can we learn? I so appreciate you joining us today and sharing with everyone your vision and this new brainchild of the CLA that is going to be full cycle. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Hey, I really appreciate you letting us kind of spread the word a little bit and share our story. And I'm really excited to be part of this industry and to be able to kind of just humbly help tell people's stories.
Hey, we're grateful for you. We're glad you're here. Thanks, Matt.